Hi, I am Zoe, and I am your metaphysical and paranormal interviewer. Today we have on the Spiritual Shack. Yes, this is Edward, and we're going to talk about the Voodoo gods. So stay tuned. I'm going to go sit down, and we're going to start. Hey, Edward, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. A little complications here and there, but I'm doing really well. So we're going to talk about the voodoo gods today, and how can you start explaining a little bit about that or where they came from?
Well, there are 7 in total, and they are summoned for different things, or if you need help in your life in different areas, you can find which one you can use for either, or what do they do, or what do they control for the background, or some kind of stuff like that.
Now, does this come from your family heritage? I mean, can you talk a little bit about like where you come from and these practices or how you learned about them?
Actually, my father's side of the family is from the Dominican Republic, so they practice some. It's not really a lot. Maybe you'll find it more over towards Haiti, but they practiced it, and that's how I got into it.
Oh, cool. So, all right. So, why don't you explain a little bit about what the voodoo gods are? Because this is one topic where I don't know anything about this whatsoever. So, most of the time, I'll probably just sit here and listen. However, I have a big mouth, so maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see.
So I have a list of all 7, and what do they use for? Some of them are actually found in Christianity, but they have different names.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Catholicism, they're used, but I guess they rewrote their purpose and they didn't have them as key figures. So the first one we have is Papa Legba, he's like the real powerful one. He's like he helps with crossroads, like when you pass on to the other side, and he's a trickster. He's the real trickster, and they portray him like the saints as Saint Anthony, Saint Lazarus, and Saint Peter. And his offerings are like tobacco or rum, however you want to put it, like on an altar to summon him. He's really good for, well, he's a trickster, but he's really good for fertility too.
Okay.
And
no, what's his name? Is it Abuga?
Legba, Papa Legba.
Oh, Papa Legba.
Some people call him Eshu.
Okay, so he's a trickster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so he's one of these gods or saints. It could be a saint in like Catholicism, but these are like your saints in your practice of voodoo.
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Right on. So.
Ooh, sorry.
True.
I got my finger stuck.
Oh, okay. So go ahead and go on. That was the first one?
Yeah, the second one is Ogun. And some people just say he's iron. He is iron, like he works over metal and like alchemy and making tools and weapons. He's really good at stuff like that. And they call him Saint James or Saint Peter in Catholic religion.
Okay, so can I just ask you, what would we use these for by knowing this? So if we're talking about this one, if he's over metal, so what would you call him in for?
He's actually, you can help him. He protects like orphans and homeless people, and he also like for technology. If you want to be like really good at technology or something like that, then that's the one to call.
Oh, okay. There we go. All right.
And the next one is Obatala, and they're called like the cool spirit. The cool spirit, and he's for like justice, peace. Like if you need clarity or like peace in general in your life, if you had a rocky situation, you just want peace, he's the one to call. And actually, Christianity calls him Jesus Christ.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
What's his name again?
His colors are white, and Like his offerings are like shea butter and milk and sugar.
Oh,
And sometimes you might see him as like a white dove.
that sounds great.
Oh, what's his name again? One more time.
And then we have Yamaya. Yamaya is a water orisha or a water goddess, and sometimes they depict her as a mermaid. She actually doesn't get along with another voodoo god. Oya. Oya is another voodoo goddess. They don't get along at all. It's just like if you're summoning voodoo gods, you cannot summon Oya and Yamaya or Ocean all at the same place because Ocean and Yamaya don't get along with Oya. So the only time you could actually have them together is if you call at all seven at all times.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the
And
next?
then
What's the next one?
we have Ocean. Ocean is another water orisha. She's actually over. So the last one was over the rivers, and this one is over the ocean. She's like motherhood, fertility, womanhood, that type of goddess. Like if you were having troubles conceiving, you can like lay out an offering of bracelets or cinnamon or rosemary for her. And she also doesn't get along with Oya.
Okay, so once you talk about all seven, I have some questions, but I'll let you just go ahead and go on.
Now we have Shango. Shango is the hot Orisha. And he's known as like the Lord of Thunder and Fire. Him and Ogun don't get along. Like, they're rivals. And he protects his followers from like evil. He loves music, women, and fun like a normal guy would. And his colors are red and white. They have colors, and he'll come as like a ram or a leopard or a crocodile. And he helps male fertility. He actually helps male fertility, and he's a big a god of music.
Oh,
And the last we have is Oya. Oya is the one who doesn't get along with Yamaya or Ocean. They don't get along at all. Like if you tried to, let's say, conjure the three at the same time, they would be like, oof. Like your house would be out of whack. Like, because they'll feel disrespected because you have to know if they get along or not. And she is the goddess of magic and women's secrets and the spirits of the dead. So that's all seven.
okay, so explain to me a little bit about, do you use these different voodoo gods? I mean, is this part of voodoo? I mean, most people think that voodoo is scary or it's not a good thing. So what are your thoughts on that?
I do. I feel like people have been, this has been around as long, if not longer than Christianity. And I feel like a lot of people disrespect it and don't know what they're doing, and then it has bad outcomes. That's why they call it scary. And then it's a really beautiful practice if you educate yourself and you're known about it. If you do it the right way and if you put your heart into it, then it's really beautiful. It's just like a lot of people don't like Christians because they killed millions of people throughout the years, and they do a lot of hatred, and a lot of people are scared of Christians. They think they're evil. So it's like a two-way street.
So it's the same thing then. So for you, it's not. And so do you practice this on a daily basis, or do you pull in, I mean, what do you do? Do you pull in one a day, or do you at random, or?
I really pull them in at times that I need them, like times that I feel weak, or if I need help in a different balance in my life, then I'll call upon them. But they're really busy. Like, I don't want to just be like I need you. I, of course, show respect, but I don't want to just keep summoning them just to summon them.
Okay, is there a certain practice on when you summon them? Like you mentioned, like, cinnamon or different, herbs that you would use to call them in. So before you call them in, is this something that you offer as a gift, or is it something that you do before before you call them in?
Yes, actually, every Orisha has different offerings and things that they accept. So let's say Shango accepts like hot sauce or candy or hot peppers because he's a spice. And Papa Legba, he likes tobacco rum and candy, so I'll know what to put out for different ones.
Okay, so do you have an altar, or where do you put this?
Yes, it's not in here. It's not in this room. It has its own complete different.
Okay, right. So, but you do have a place where you practice this. So, if you want to call one in, then you would put like the incense or anything that you want to put down that you were talking about, and then call them in. And then how do you call them in? Is it just like we call in, like for me calling in Archangel Michael? Is it the same thing as that? Or
I like a prayer.
Oh, a prayer. Okay.
Yeah. I'll just leave it out and then I'll pray.
Okay. So this is just part of the culture. Is there anything else that you practice around the voodoo culture?
Not as much. I don't really like a lot of people practice Santeria, but I don't really. That's another religion. A lot of people take it too far. I mean, I'm not here to disrespect anybody's practices. Everybody's in their own. But I personally don't feel comfortable with like animal insides, animal sacrifices and stuff like that. Like I couldn't kill it.
Right. So, but they do in the voodoo culture when they're doing bad things. Do you consider that bad when they do get sacrifices? Is that part of it that you don't use?
Yeah. Sometimes a lot of people misuse it. But if you're sacrificing an animal to hurt somebody else who's done nothing to you, that's what I consider horrible. Like,
well, that's black magic. That's like black magic. So there's a good side to voodoo and a very great practice of it. And then on the other side, it can be very dark. So
just like anything, there's a light and a bad. And I feel like a lot of people just see the bad and they use it as an excuse to hate other religions. Like, they'll be like, oh my God, this bad happened. And so the whole thing is disgusting. And it's like, that's not good.
Is there anything else that you can tell us about it?
Well, a lot of people think that hoodoo and voodoo are the same thing, but it's really not.
Okay, that's voodoo and hoodoo. I know that one. So it sounds the same. So it's voodoo or hoodoo. So what's the difference between those?
So voodoo is probably like healing and like with plants or herbs, stuff like that. Like there's stuff that you get herb. You do like you get some ingredients and do stuff like that. It's not really a religion. It's just a little practice. It's a practice. Not a little practice, a practice. People use plant. It's more like plant-based stuff like that.
Okay, so that's hoodoo, and and voodoo has to do with calling in the different voodoo gods. Then,
yes,
and that's what. So you don't do any animal sacrificing or any of that.
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. So anything else around that?
That's pretty much it.
Okay, so what's the next topic? What else would you like to talk about today?
Cool. I remember we were going to touch on like past life regression and astral projection. That's I'm a real fan.
Okay, so why don't you speak about that?
Astral projection is something that accidentally happened to me when I was younger. Like when I was younger, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, it wasn't on purpose. It just happened. I was sick. And then I got out of bed and I turned around and I was like, my body's still on the bed. I was like, oh my God, did I die? And so I freaked out. But then I woke back up and I didn't think anything of it until I looked up what it was. And I was like, oh. And then I fell in love with it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I had to get my water. I forgot it. I'm just a little out of it today.
Put your
I got
mic.
mine too. It's
I
okay.
forgot my water and I have my mouse pad out. I've got my vape. I don't know. There's a lighter on the table. Everything's just kind of a little out of whack. So, okay. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was saying that when I was younger, it was on accident, and I was like, oh my god, I thought I died. I was sick, so I thought I died. But I freaked out and I woke back up. I looked up, I was like, what is this? And then I seen Insidious, the movie. The first time I've seen anything about like astral projection. I was like, that's what that is. And that's how I knew what it was. And then I learned how to do, or what helps to do.
Okay, well, explain. You got to explain about what happened or what astral projection is because nobody knows what it is.
The astral projection is when your soul or your spiritual body leaves your physical. And there are different, like, the astral plane is where people astral project to go, or if we go like different places or different things. Oh, you can also, I know a lot of people who only astral project to have astral sex, like with their astral bodies. That's what they use it for. Or I just like to travel, and some people just. But it's when you leave and then you're physical, and then you leave your spiritual.
Right, now this is only done when you're dreaming or when you go into your sleep state, isn't that correct?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, so one would go into a sleep state and then tell me exactly what happened because it's kind of like you're all over the map with it and people don't understand at all what astral projection is. So I know that you're laying like in bed and you're in between sleep and wake up and then all of a sudden you see yourself from above down to your body and there's supposed to be a cord attached, like a white cord from your body into your spiritual body, and then you can travel outside of your body. Is that correct?
Yes. So basically, there's astral projection and there's lucid dreaming. I'm going to talk about astral projection first. You might feel like a vibrating, like a paralysis. I feel like a vibration and like a ringing before I actually do it, and then I can't move. And then I like hear, and then I'll know that I projected.
And so, what do you do out there? I mean, if you're astral projecting, I've never really talked to anyone. I have actually. It's never happened to me. But I've heard that people go out, they get really scared, okay, and they can actually see their bodies from above, but that's as far as I've known. They don't travel or anything because that's as far as their experience has gone. Can you travel further, or have you
You can travel
experimented?
anywhere in the universe, anywhere you want, like Paris, something like that. A lot of people are scared, and a lot of people have fear, so they psych themselves up and then they wake back up, but their body,
Right.
spiritually back into the physical.
Right, that's what I've heard. So
Yeah,
that's
they get.
So that's astral projection. What about lucid dreaming? Lucid dreaming is different.
Yeah, lucid dreaming is when you're in your REM sleep cycle, and then you're in a dream, and then like you know that you're in a dream, so it actually feels real, like you're doing it in real life, but you're dreaming. A lot of times I do this too. So a lot of times I'll know, like I'll see a grandma in a bikini and be like, okay, I'm dreaming. Or I'll put my fingers like this, and my hand will go through my fingers.
Oh, okay.
Or something will be off. Like you'll know that you're dreaming. Something's always going to be off.
So,
And I'll be like, okay, I'm dreaming.
so you're really aware of when you are in this lucid dreaming state, you're really aware of yourself and what is going on. So like touching your hands and be able to go through, then you know what it is. So you obviously have experienced this.
Yes.
Okay. And so now you're not afraid to do it because you know what it is.
Yes. I would be more. I was never afraid of lucid dreaming, but astral projection took me a little while because it's like there was always the fear of I don't want anything to go into my body, or I don't want to be attacked by a demon. But when you have those thoughts and then you astral project, you're like exuding negative energy, so like, or low vibrations, and so like low vibration beings will be attracted to you because you're
Right.
you're
Right.
putting the energy out there.
Right. I agree with you 100%. So when you do this now, do you have some type of protection that you use?
Yes, I always pray to the Orishas for protection on the other side, like
Okay.
before I do it.
So
But please protect me. Say a little prayer.
is your intention before you go to sleep, is your intention to astral project, or does it just come at random?
Sometimes it happens at random, but most of the time when I want to do it, I like put it in the intentions and I turn on the music. I don't really do it that often because it's really energy consuming to do it a
Oh,
lot.
it is. Okay. So how, if someone wanted to learn how to astral project, how would they do that?
I would tell them to get some lavender and some eucalyptus, and you can have oil or you can have an incense. It helps me like concentrate, and then I don't know if I'm meditating. I'll say turn on some binaural beats or some astral projection music, and then I would feel my third eye like just doom 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 doom, and then I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna do it, and then I do. It's harder for everybody, a lot of different people, but I would just say take your time, like, and don't freak yourself out.
Okay, so, but what I'm saying is, how would someone do that? Do they have to be laying down? I mean, I thought it happened when you were starting to go to sleep. So how would they start to do that? I
Yeah,
mean,
lay down on your back. That's when it happens the easiest.
okay, so laying on your back, lighting some lavender or some eucalyptus, and then what are you thinking about before, when you start it?
I always like say to myself, I'm like, it's okay to leave my body. I'm okay. It's okay to leave my body. I repeat that because I still there's like a thing in the back of my mind, like, oh my god, I'm scared. But I keep repeating that to myself until I believe it, until I'm ready.
Okay, so somebody that does this can just lay down and their intention can be that they'd like to do this.
Yeah.
And to say some prayers before they do this, light some incense, and just focus on wanting to astral project. Because for me, I know about astral projection. However, I have never been able to do it, no matter what the books say, no matter what, what anyone says. I haven't been able to do it. Now, the people that I know that have had the experience, it's happened when they go to bed at night. And then all of a sudden they realize that they're above their body and that they can go other places. But most are really scared. So for me, it's not that easy. I think it may be a gift that's given to the individual to be able to do that, because I'm just telling you my experience that it doesn't happen. I mean, I wish it would happen.
What was
Have
one?
you gotten to the point of like, where is it to like, you'll try to do it and then it won't happen? Like, where do you get stuck at? Do you get stuck in paralysis or like vibrating?
Oh, for me? No,
Mhm.
no, nothing happens whatsoever. There's nothingness.
Oh,
Yeah.
um,
So what I'm saying is that the regular person out there is probably going to go through the same thing I am. My intention, even if I want to do it, or any of the practices that I've tried, and they even have guided meditation CDs or different types of books that you can read about it, and it has not worked for me.
I would say to that person, go to sleep, but set an alarm on your phone for 2 hours after you fall asleep. It'll wake you up, and then you go to the bathroom and lay back down, and then you try it, and that helps
Okay.
easier. That's what I first started to do when I couldn't get it.
Okay, all right, so that's kind of interesting. And you explain lucid dreaming. I mean, so if you want to have a lucid dream, what is the procedure for that one?
I don't know how to explain that one. Like, I just normally, I'll go like this or something throughout the day. I'll look at something and be like, this is like that, or like this is like this. I'll look at my hands and pay attention to like the marks, And if I look in a dream, my hands aren't gonna look like there's gonna be something weird. I'll go like that, and then my finger will go through something. So I'll automatically know that I'm dreaming.
Yeah, okay, but do you have to be, is your intention, again, how do you get into a lucid dream? What is your intention? If someone wanted to do it, how do they do it? I mean, I know how you feel when you do it, but how does an individual who wants to lucid dream or wants to know about it, how would they do that?
I give this. I just say put your mind to it, like make it your intention to do that, and then you'll do it. Or you'll be thinking something in your head, and then you'll drift off into sleep, and then you probably might continue to think about it, and then it'll be like, okay, now I'm dreaming. Or if you say I'm gonna lucid dream, and then you lay down, you fall asleep, thinking about something, then your brain isn't gonna like automatically turn it off your sleep. If you lucid dreaming or in your dream or something, you might think about it and then it'll go away. But I think you should have a strong train of thought.
Okay, so a strong train of thought thinking that this is something you want to do. What about when your mind wanders? You know, is if someone lays down and that's their intention and their mind is wandering, you know, it's hard to, do they just keep saying a mantra? Would it be, I want to, you know, have a lucid dream? Or is it just something that happens?
My mind wanders too, so I would just say like let your mind wander, because if you try hard to just, it'll be hard to just try to think about something else. Let your brain do what it does, because if you try to not say anything, or you try to just say the same thing over and over, you're not relaxed.
Okay, all right. So what's the, that's interesting, I like that. So what, I know you had one more topic that we talked about.
Oh, past life regression. I love
Yes.
talking about that.
Yeah, it was past, that's exactly it. So tell us a little bit about past life regression. I mean, give it a definition. I'd like a definition of what it is.
Past life regression is when you go back into like time, like, and see what you were back before you were in this body, or what your life was like.
So it's actually when I've had a past life regression before, and I had somebody else do it for me because I just I didn't feel qualified to do it, but it was definitely a trip to have it done. So that would be, if you believe in reincarnation, okay, then past life regression would be what life you had prior to the life you had now.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes. I've always wanted to do it, but I could never do it. Like, I have friends who could do it, and I'd be so jealous. I'm like, I don't know why you're jealous. You can astral project, and I can't. I'm like, but I want to know. I just want to know what I was.
So, but they do have people that specialize in it that you can go to, and they'll take you down that road. That's how I did mine, was by a specialist who did this, and it was a trip. I mean, when
It was?
yeah, it was. I actually I went to her for two things. One was I was having a lot of trouble, and I couldn't understand why, and so I went, someone told me about her, and I went, and it was affecting me so badly that we did a past life regression, and I was in like a somewhere like in Africa or somewhere like that, and I was rowing like this boat down where all these reeds were, and I was African American, and just standing inside of this little boat, moving it down the stream. But what happened was, part of it was an entity who had also come into the picture at that time around this whole situation. And so as I was going through that and this past life regression with this being this man in this, it's a trip, it's hard to explain. But when I woke up, I had grease all over my body. I'll never forget it. and it was, part of it was a demonic thing that was coming out of me. So my body was covered in like a grease, like Vaseline, when I came out. Yeah. So, but that really did help. The past life regression really helped me deal with whatever I was doing. And so once I did the past life regression and I went through this, as horrible as it may sound, there was only a certain part that was, peaceful, like taking the boat and I'm going down the river. It was more like a raft and I'm standing. But then when I got into it further, that's when all the grease and stuff started coming out of my body, and so that part of it wasn't fun whatsoever. It was very scary, and I'm really glad that I had a professional with me that knew what to do. But I remember leaving and I felt very good and very relieved that I did it, and I really do believe that it did help. And that was I did this 30 years ago. So it was quite a long time ago. Do I want to do it again? No.
No, not at all.
No, I don't want to do it again unless there's some serious issues that I personally can't get rid of, because the past life, when you have a past life, it can actually affect your life, present life, because you bring in unfinished business into this life and tell me if I'm wrong, to recreate certain components of that to get beyond whatever it is that you need to learn that you didn't learn in the life before. Is that correct? Is that what you know about it?
Yeah, I've heard people that come back have unfinished business or something they need to take care of before they can move on.
Right. Okay, so we're on the same page on that. So so you haven't done past life regression, but it's something that you really would like to experience.
Yes, I'm always so jealous because I'm like, you guys can do it and I can't. And they're always like, well, you can ask to project. And I was like, well, I didn't ask to. I did it when I was 7, so I didn't mean to. But you guys are awesome. It's funny how to see you could be a different race or a different gender, and to know that your soul came to a different body. That's why I always feel like I shouldn't love people for who they what they look like or what they are. I just feel like I love them because of their soul.
Right. Well, that's because their soul has been through many lifetimes. And then after a certain amount of lifetimes, once you finally get it, okay, from what I know, then there's no need to do any other lifetimes. You move on to a different level.
Yes.
Okay.
I hope that I get over whatever I need to get over in this lifetime, because I don't want to do this again.
I know. I feel the same exact way. I know. And that's why I work so hard spiritually every day to get beyond that and move on to a different level. So what else was it that you wanted to talk about today? I know there was a third subject.
It was actual projection, past life regression, close practice.
So that was it?
I want to talk some more about the past life regression. It's just, I'm so excited. I feel like I should go to a professional, but I don't think I probably have to drive an hour or 2 to see one, because it will probably be in the city. But it's always so fascinating when I hear these people and their stories be like the little boy who was scared of water in the bathtub and he was a captain on the Titanic. It just blows my mind.
Right. So okay, so let's move on. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about today?
I think that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Okay. Well, hey, it's been interesting speaking about, I really love the voodoo stuff. And actually, I was lying. I do know about voodoo. Because when I went to New Orleans, I met, she was the big voodoo lady of New Orleans. And I should have gotten the book out today, but I just totally forgot I had it. and I met her personally, and she autographed my book, and she's very, very well known there, and she has a book, and then she has voodoo cards that you can look at and do all of this different stuff, but the book is done very well, and it's only the good voodoo like you talked about. And so I did study a little bit about voodoo, so I was lying about that. And I just wish I had her name because she's very, very well known. But in New Orleans she is. And I had the pleasure of having a meeting with her and speaking with her about her book. And I was at her office space that she had, and it was a pretty incredible experience. It was.
I like the fact that there's not just one way to do voodoo. Like, you have voodoo from Louisiana, you have voodoo from Haiti, you have voodoo from Africa. They all have like a little things different, but they're the same as like the bigger picture.
Yeah, because when you started naming off your different 7 voodoo gods, they're all in that book. So I started remembering them. Like the old man smoking the cigarette, that's the first one you talked about. Obin? Yeah, and he likes tobacco,
Papa.
right? He's the one that likes tobacco. Yeah, I do know. Now it's coming back to me. So, and it was very interesting to take a good read on it. I would highly suggest other people look into it because it's something fun. It's something to know. I mean, why not?
I would suggest for people to unlearn what they've learned about voodoo, or to unlearn what has been said, because they always try to make it seem like we're big evil people who just want to kill everybody for no reason. Like, why? That's a horrible state. There's beautiful people with beautiful big hearts. And they're, to be honest, the people I've met practice voodoo are way nicer than the people who practice Christianity at a church.
Well, if it's because it's just got such a negative connotation to it. You know, most people think it's killing chickens and dancing around and, you know, getting the blood and stuff like that. And what you're telling us is that has nothing to do with certain parts of it.
People watch a lot of TV, and that season from American Horror Story didn't help. That made it worse.
Oh, okay. So in American Horror Story, they did some stuff on voodoo.
They did a season, they have like different stories every season. And they had one called Coven, where there were witches and then there were voodoo priestesses and stuff. And they just made it seem like there wasn't.
Yeah, but you're talking about Hollywood. Okay,
Yeah.
Hollywood they're not interested in anything that's from the light. Generally, they always want to show the dark side to create the fear in the individual, because otherwise it doesn't really go well in the story, in their storyline. I mean, I know that because I experienced it by being on the Travel Channel and doing a show and seeing how they manipulated us in doing things that they wanted us to do just to make it scary, even though we didn't believe in what they were doing. I didn't do it, but they talked Dee into doing it. And so Dee was really the star of the show because they wanted him to say certain things to make it scarier than what the true story really was. So they do that in Hollywood. That's normal.
The only thing I'll give them props for is portraying Legba as a trickster, because that he is. He tricks the woman, and he made her sell her soul for the rest of eternity to him or whatever, and he made her kill somebody for all of eternity. Like, he just had her stab her for all of eternity, and that was it. I was like, that's. But Hollywood is, they give anybody who has a spiritual practice, they give them a witch connotation, and that's it.
Right. Well, hey, I'm really excited. I'm really glad that you came on today to talk about all the different things that you wanted to talk about, and I find it fascinating and interesting, and I'm sure someone will get something out of it. I mean, they can always look into past life regression, or hoodoo, or voodoo, or not remote viewing. What was the other one?
Astral.
Past life progression.
Astral projection, right? So, right. So, or lucid dreaming. So these are all books that someone could buy to get more information about it. And all you have to do is plug in the keyword, and then you can find it on the internet, or there's books on Amazon. Because I have read a few books on different parts of these different practices. So
Yeah, there's a website, but it's not really open to everybody. It's mostly people from African descent is where they give out the books.
oh, well, that's too bad. So what is the name of the website if someone wants to try it?
I don't have it on me. I'll send Zoe the link and she will put it.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, well, hey, I want to say thank you again so much for coming on today, and thank you.
I had fun, even if Tanya wasn't here.
Yeah, and today we actually had Tanya was supposed to be on, but she had a medical emergency, so she couldn't be with us, and so we just have Edward, and that was excellent. And we are going to say over and out. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And he beat the COVID.
Bye, guys.
Way to go, Edward.